All right, young man, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So this call to order of the October 2021 Pro Board meeting. I'll say public comment, but Jonathan, if you can just wait a minute, I'll get to you in just a second. And it doesn't look like there's anyone else on from the public, so we can skip over that. So I'll make approval of minutes. I make a motion to approve the July minutes.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Jennifer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right,
And
Greg, it's August minutes, not July. It's August. We didn't have a
I'm
meeting
sorry.
in September.
August. Sorry about that. I'm thrown off now. All right, so August minutes. Anyone
Aye.
opposed?
No, I second that. I second the August minutes.
All right, Jennifer seconds the August minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? All right, approved. All right, so I will turn over the floor to Jonathan, who is working on his Eagle Scout project. Jonathan, thank you for joining us. You there? So why don't you go ahead and talk about what you're working on for us.
Okay, so I prepared a little PowerPoint. If screen sharing, does that work for you?
Yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna screen share that real quick. Okay, so I figure I might as well start with just a real quick introduction. My name is Jonathan Thorngate. I'm a Life Scout from Troop 30, which is just based here out of West Grove. And I contacted the Township a few months ago about doing an Eagle Scout project, and this is just what I've come up with. So I'm here tonight to seek approval and get the go ahead on it. So what I've got here is construction of a bridge at Crossing Park off of Parsons Road. So I'll go ahead and get started. Just a general overview of what I want to do. So it will involve the planning and construction of approximately a 16-foot bridge across the stream just back in the woods. I'm planning on just using volunteers from Troop 30 and members of their families. So it's all going to be kept just people from my troop. Very simple. So the time frame I'd like to do for this is about 3 weeks, which may be a little bit long, but just thinking about weather and stuff like that. And all my volunteers are going to be in school, so I'll be able to work on weekends. And that's from when I get the materials to when I'm hoping the bridge will be finished. It should be about 3 weeks. And I'd like to have this done before Thanksgiving. That's why I put my start time here as late October or early November, just so that way things are over before the holidays kick in. So here I have just a screenshot of Google Maps and where the bridge will be located. There is a blue line here, which leads to the position of where the bridge will be in the woods. I'm not sure how visible that is. I got a little laser pointer here for those that can't see. And on the map, I also have this red dot over here that indicates there's a field right there, and there's an entrance into that field from the road. And I was going to ask for the committee's approval to use that field right there for staging materials for the project, because it would make my life a whole lot easier. Just bringing in the telephone poles I'm going to use for the bridge and other materials. So that's it for the location of the bridge. I have just a few more photos showcasing what exactly the bridge is going to be. So farthest to the right is a bridge that's already in the park, all the way down at the bottom of the hill. That's going to kind of be the rough draft for what I plan to do. It's going to be more or less the same thing. the image furthest to the left there is where the bridge is supposed to be, specifically in between the span of both of those stakes, which is about 16 feet, as I mentioned before. And the photo right there in the middle is the stream that is over. It's kind of hard to see just because of all the brush that's in the way, but that hole is about 6 feet deep. So it's pretty deep hole there. And then these are the stamped plans. Mr. Overton had sent me a list of different plans I could use, and these are the ones that I think would match my my bridge the best, what I'm planning to do. One thing to note is that there are side rails on the bridge plan here, and I talked with Mr. Overton and Eli about this as well. But those are going to be closer together to keep with local codes about just children not getting their head in between the rails or whatever. That's about the only change to these. Other than that, I'll mostly be following this cost. So I've estimated about $650, but that is a little bit high, but I figured it's better just to go a little bit high. And that's using Lowe's as my supplier for that. And something else I thought would be important to note is that the telephone poles, I have a way to source those for free, which is what I plan on using as my stringers, basically the base of the bridge. So that shouldn't really be too big of an issue. And finally, just how is this an Eagle requirement? It's beneficial to the community, which is the big part of doing an Eagle project, is that it needs to be beneficial to the community, which this would allow for more trails and safe passage of the stream. It's sustainable. It will be good for years to come. Little work will need to be done on it. And it's just practical and helpful. That's all I had in terms of my presentation. Like I said, the only real question I have is if I can use that field just to the west for staging of materials for the project.
Can you bring up that map again, please, Jonathan?
Yes.
I just have something for you and the pro committee to consider. I don't know, Jonathan, if you can take your mouse and move that over where that green looks like a Christmas tree in that mark. Now, right there, no, I'm sorry, go to the left. Go to the left a little over road.
Back to the right.
Back to the
Back
right?
to the right.
Right. Back to the right. Right at the D in
Right
Parsons Road.
there. Perfect,
Okay.
stop.
Yes.
Right there, you have a locked gate. So
Okay.
I'm gonna give you two choices. I would, when you have time over the weekend, I would go out, I would walk through that gate and then walk down to your left and determine what's gonna be the best, easiest route for you.
Yeah, that's more direct route into there, John.
Okay.
Because it's a level over where that red dot is over on the side there. That's not really an access road there. And so it drops down a little bit. So I personally, just knowing that particular area, I think you're better to the right of the blue dot and coming in there through
Okay.
the gate.
That's good to know.
Either way, it's the same, but we can beat this field up a little bit better than the other one.
Right.
All right.
The other thing is, I'm gonna try and help you out with the board of supervisors here. One of them is gonna ask if you've checked with anyone else other than Lowe's. So if you have time, I might suggest you contact Oxford Hay and Grain with their
Yeah.
lumber, and they are helpful, especially if you tell them you're working on an Eagle Scout project.
Yeah, they do provide a discount for Eagle projects.
Okay. Thank you. That's good to know.
The other thing, I think it's great that you're working with Mr. Overton. I feel between you and Mr. Overton, you should probably make the decision about reaching out to our zoning officer, because I can envision one of our board members asking if you've been in contact with the zoning officer, zoning and code enforcement officer. So I would discuss that one with Mr. Overton and see what he feels is the best route for you to take.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, cool. So are you, just to be clear, are you actually asking for funding, Jonathan, or?
Yes, I'm asking for funding on this project.
Okay. Okay. Did anyone else have any questions or comments? I think it looks great, and I think it'll be highly beneficial for us.
I think it's a great project, Jonathan. Just one more piece of advice. I can imagine another board member asking you if you've received any other donations for this project. Whether it's the church, your aunt and uncle, something monetary. Normally in the past, the board has offered up to $500. I don't suspect that will change, but again, trying to help you out with the board, you're probably going to get that question.
Okay.
If you received a donation or if you sought donations from anyone else.
Maybe Jim knows this. Is that part of the process for the Eagle Scouts? Is fundraising for their project?
That's a critical part of it.
Okay.
It
So
all
that-
ties it together. And that can be done through, like you said, through donations of any source. That's all part of the critical package of where the approval process will be evaluated, and within the Eagle project itself for final approval to execute it at the scout level. Where are you getting your funds from? How are you doing it? So
Jonathan, that's something that I think Jeff and Jim are just helping you out. So before you go in front of the Board of Supervisors, we're kind of like almost your practice, to make sure that, that you have everything prepared. And, if you have any more questions, I think obviously Paul and Jeff would be a big help, but I think Jeff's trying to help you. Am I right? Am I wrong, Jeff? You're trying to help him get it right with the Board of Supervisors.
Oh, I want him to get it right the first time. So
Yeah, so we're just trying to save
Yeah,
you. So all of this is just good advice for you to take so that you're prepared, because they're going to be a little more critical at your plan. I mean, I think it's great too, and I think it's really needed. But I think that if you could just clean those details up with Jim, Jeff, and Paul's help.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Jonathan, when do you think you want to present this to the board?
Really as soon as possible. I'm not sure if they hold scheduled meetings, but whenever I can get in, I'd like to do it as soon as possible.
Now,
Wednesday of the month, right? If we can get it on for this month.
right, and if the pro committee agrees, well, this is a fact. The next board meeting is October 20th. What I would need from you, Jonathan, is anything you want the board to have. Pictures, cost estimates, any of that stuff. I need in the office no later than Thursday noon on October 14th.
Okay.
So that's a tight
We have to
turnaround.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying that's a tight turnaround. So he was saying he wants to do it at the end of October. So he really needs to get this done by next Thursday.
Yep. And just keep in mind, Jonathan, the staff has to put together a meeting book for the board. So you're an important part of that meeting book, but we've got probably 20 other chapters to create too, to put in there too. So that's why we need it on that day to be able to make that book. And then we have to get it out on the 15th. Staff does.
Okay.
To the board.
Yeah, and I can get together a more detailed like pricing model or whatever, better detailed maps. That won't be an issue. So,
Now, if you want, um, and I'm trying to save your printer at home. If you want to put that stuff on a flash drive, I'll print it out in color for you at the office. So if you want 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17, just tell me and we'll get it done.
okay. And are the board meetings in person or are they virtual as well, or
Virtual.
virtual? Okay.
The only other thing I would add, Jonathan, I think you had it on your cover there that said Crossin Park. Technically, that's Franklin Preserve that you're working in.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
Alright.
it's right next to Crossin, but yeah, it's just a minor detail.
No, okay. So you're saying like the woods just over to the west are actually Franklin Preserve. That's not technically part of the
Right.
park.
Yeah, anything
Okay.
on that side of the drive there. Is
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So Paul did make it on. Paul, did you have any comments or anything? I know you missed some of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm late. I had technical difficulty, so I'm actually on my phone. I still couldn't get my computer to join. So I was curious what funding Jonathan needs. What's the money situation?
So I've estimated, this is a high estimate, but around $650.
Did you get pricing from Oxford Feed?
No, that's Lowe's. I haven't made it to Oxford Feed.
And are you asking the township for money?
Yes, I was asking the township for funding.
How much?
As much as possible, the full, if possible.
No, the township's maximum is 500.
Okay.
So I know you were out with Eli looking at the location. Would it matter a great deal if we move that location it's still in Franklin Preserve, but relocated it? I'm not positive of that.
It would matter a little bit. Where are you thinking about moving it to?
Well, over by the bottom, the south, no, it's northwest corner is
Northwest corner.
Yeah, where we cross into the Pico property. That one might be a more urgent need because the crossing they put in temporarily waiting for your bridge seems to be working pretty well. We thought it would get washed out by now, but it's holding. So the other crossing might be more urgent, but I'd like to verify that with the trail guys that are building the bike trails.
Jonathan, pull the map back up. Jonathan, can you pull the map back up that you had? I don't know if you saw it, Paul.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
can
didn't.
get that back up.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. But it's the same bridge, same length, same everything. Just it would be a different location. But
Okay, so
like I
you're
said,
saying
I
like
have to
further, you're saying further down this way?
it's a different stream. There's another stream to the west.
Okay.
But yes, northwest. Yeah.
Yeah, so the big thing with that would really just be logistics and getting materials there, because right there, where it's at right now would be pretty easy to get to with access to the field. So if it's too far in the woods, that can make it really tricky on me to get materials.
No, I
in
think
there.
I think it's pretty much drivable. It's not in the woods.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to breach
Paul,
that
before you-
topic.
Oh, just real quick, Paul, before you got on, Jeff was suggesting that he enter, if you look at the map where it says Parsons Road, see where the D is?
Yeah.
They were, Jeff and Jim had suggested him coming there because it's so much easier to get to that blue dot. But if he were to go in where he originally had the red dot, he could drive all the way down to that northwest corner. There was some.
No, there's actually a driveway you can see in his picture just left of the red dot. There's a driveway that goes past the pipeline pumping station and you would just keep going down through that field.
So maybe that's something to consider, Jonathan. Maybe it might even be easier to get to.
Yeah, but
Okay.
for if we do the bridge in this location, when Matt built a temporary crossing, he did go in where the red dot is. He found that was easier than the other side. But it's 50-50. It doesn't matter. I think.
But you're saying we're all the way over to the far left corner above the other Parsons Road wording, that driveway, he can go all the way up there?
Yeah, Jeff has the key to that driveway. It has a gate, but Jeff has the key. Anyway, I'll get the location nailed down here this week, but this location might be fine. I just wanted to just throw that wrench in there just to let you know it might change a little bit.
Okay. All right.
So
Everything
we're-
else okay? Did you show us the design? Is it the design I sent you that it comes from the White Clay Creek State Park?
Yeah, I brought up that drawing.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, because it has to be an approved drawing for the board to agree to it.
Okay.
And Paul, just one other thing, Jeff had mentioned, who was it? You said that they needed to talk to zoning.
Paul, the young man had talked about moving the railings a little bit, so kids don't get their heads caught. And I'm sure one of the board members is going to say, has the zoning and code enforcement officer approved of the change? So I asked Jonathan to talk with you about it and take direction, whether you feel it needs to be done, or if Jonathan should talk to him, or if you should, Paul. I'm just trying to make things easier at the meeting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So Jonathan, what are you proposing? You wanted to make 4-inch gaps. Where'd the drawing go?
I took that down. I can bring that back up. I didn't want to be hogging up the space there.
What was your proposal, to make 4-inch gaps?
Yeah, I was gonna I guess, yeah, lessen the gap between the side railing there, because I know we had talked about that before. So that's one of the only things that would really change with this drawing.
Yeah, no other township or park requires that, but our old zoning officer, because of one of our board members, was talking about that. But it's maybe something I can talk about with the new zoning officer, because the idea is that's the rule for a balcony or porch. But the idea there is a child like under 2 could be left alone on their porch. But thinking that a child could be left alone on a hiking trail out in the middle of the woods and get their head stuck seems kind of silly.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I can ask him for you. I mean, it's just
Okay.
more money, right? You're just buying more lumber.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Jeff, when's the new guy in the office?
Paul, he is there Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10:30 until noon. And his name is Robert Rittle, Rittle.
Okay.
All right, so do we need to take a vote on this? It seems like some of the details are still kind of up in the air, but I don't want to slow the process down.
Yeah, I think you need a vote.
Okay. So I'll make a motion.
If Jonathan wants to build both bridges, see, that would solve everything. I'm just kidding, Jonathan.
Guessing from his silence, he's not interested.
Yeah, Paul, you're gonna scare away all the Boy Scouts.
All right, so I'll make a motion to recommend Jonathan's Eagle Scout project of building a 16-foot bridge. I'll just say in Franklin Preserve.
I'll second.
Second by Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right,
And when do you turn 18?
I turned 18, 2023, so I got
Got
time.
then. Okay. Just making sure when you're saying you wanted to try to get it started October, November. Just wasn't sure
Yeah,
you were up
I
against-
just didn't want to get too cold.
Okay.
That's it.
cool. Well,
Good,
Go ahead.
good. No, I thought you were done.
yeah, I'm done. Go ahead.
No, are we done? Are we good with Jonathan? I was gonna say he doesn't have to hang around for the rest of the meeting, Jonathan. If you want
Yeah.
to drop off, you're welcome to.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah,
So after this is Board of Supervisors, right?
Yeah, and you'll get all your material to Jeff by the date he said earlier.
Yep,
Good luck. Thank you.
yeah, thanks,
Okay.
John.
yep. And I just have one more question. The location, when should I be expecting a change if there is a change in that? Like, will you let me know if you're changing that or what's going on? with
Yeah,
that?
this week. So today's Wednesday, so
Yeah.
tomorrow, Friday, I'll tell you.
Okay, all right.
Jonathan,
Thank
one
you.
last thing, make sure Greg Sachs and Paul Overton are okay with what you're going to be submitting to the township.
Okay,
So make sure they're on board before you give it to me.
And
all right.
in the meantime, you have to figure out how you're gonna raise the rest of the money.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Thank you.
Cool.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
John.
Take care.
All right.
So, Jeff, I was having difficulty getting on the meeting, and so I went to the township website and tried to log in through the link that you have offered for the public. And I realized there are different links. They went to a different meeting. And so when I used the link that's offered to the public, it said, this host is already hosting a different meeting. So I don't know if you realized that.
I did not, Paul. If I had, I would have changed it. So I apologize for the mistake.
Yeah, just letting you know, there might be other people trying to get on. So I went back to the email you sent and used that, and that was okay. But the one that's the one everybody's on, I guess. But the one on the township website is going somewhere else.
Well, I'll see if I can make that change right now.
All right, sorry, Greg.
That's all right.
Uh,
All right, so I'll move on to old business. So first up was the memorial tree and bench project. So we've at least made enough progress where I feel like we could recommend the trees as well as the plaques once we kind of decide on who to go with. But we've gotten now 4 estimates from 4 different tree nurseries. And I can go through those with you. I would have sent them as an email, but they're all a bunch of different emails, so I didn't want to flood you guys with different emails. So if it's okay with you guys, I'll kind of read the numbers and I can load up stuff if there's any other questions. But the first nursery, which was the least expensive, is Clark Brothers. And they are out of where? West Grove, Oxford area.
You said they're least or most?
Least expensive.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
and
ones
I
I
think-
use.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. I think that's the ones you were recommending.
Yeah,
So-
their price includes planting, right?
Yeah, everyone kind of, quoted it a little differently. So I did my best to compare apples to apples. So their trees are between 2-inch to 4-inch diameter of the trunk, which is a good size. 2-inch. So I kind of just went with 2-inch as the comparison, even though, we can go up, but 2-inch from Clark Brothers was $325. And again, it's kind of varies as far as which species and, what size, but their lowest was $325. That included planting. And then they said it was an additional $20 to stake the trees and $5 for deer guards, which I would definitely recommend the deer guards. They, as far as a warranty, they provide the warranty up until spring. So through the winter till spring is what they offer. The 4-inch goes up to $400, and then 3-inch was $375. Next was RP Nurseries. They did it between 2-inch to 3.5-inch diameter. Their cost was, and I don't want to confuse you with all these numbers, but the minimum cost was $425 on that one. So that was with installation. And again, they gave me a ballpark. They didn't want to really give me a specific price for installation, but they gave me a range. So this would be, the minimum cost would be $425. Warranty is 1 year from planting for them. So it is a bigger warranty. Watercress Farms Nursery was another one. They provide 2-inch to 2.5-inch diameter trees. Their minimum was $405. So similar to RP Nurseries. And that was installed as well. The final one was Gateway Gardens out of Hokasam, and their trees are smaller. They're only a 1 to 1.5-inch caliper, and their cost minimum was $409. They did offer the longest warranty. They said if they plant it, it's a 2-year warranty for the tree. They also said mulching was included, but
How about the deer guards?
no one else actually even mentioned deer guards. Clark Brothers was the only one that I saw that actually had that in their estimate.
Did they say what a deer guard is?
No, I can try to pull up their estimate, but I think they just said $5 for deer guards. So I don't know if it's
probably that plastic spiral wound stuff that just snaps around the tree.
okay. Yeah, I was figuring it had to be pretty simple for $5.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
that's some good pricing. It's a little bit more expensive than I anticipated, but I think maybe, I don't know if you guys had in mind, those are some big trees, like 3.5 inches that's diameter breast height, right? DBH.
Right.
So that's
yeah.
at 4 feet off the ground, a 4-inch tree. That's like a 15 to 20 foot high tree, which is substantial.
Right.
But if we can keep the cost down, charge somebody $500 and then plant an 1.5-inch tree, which is like 10 to 12 feet high, I still think that's a decent tree. But it would lower the price.
And I've always heard that the smaller the tree, the planting, the better it is survival in the long run.
Yeah, it recovers faster. It recovers.
Right.
That's right.
Because you're not cutting off as much of the roots and that type of thing.
So is it possible to ask you to just get a requote from Gateway at 1 inch or 1.5 inches?
Well, that's what they gave us. That's the size they had was 1 inch to 1.5.
No, I'm sorry, Clark Brothers.
Oh, Clark. Yeah, I could reach out, but they, I think the smallest they were offering was 2 inches.
Well, see if they'll give you 1.5 inches.
Okay.
But that's what I was buying from them for the Little League. I bought all 1.5 inch stuff.
Okay.
Now they don't always have it, right? Sometimes they only have 1 inch because they haven't matured yet. Sometimes they're only 2 inch because they're past mature. You know what I mean? So
Right.
But just say, hey, we're interested in something a little smaller, more affordable. Do you have that? That might help.
I'd be fine with that. I
But
I definitely prefer. Go ahead.
Clearly, they're the low cost provider here because they plan it.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised because everyone else was, give or take an extra $100. So I'm not sure how they're getting such a better price, but you said you've used them and you're happy with them. So
Yeah, and the owner lives in the township, so that's a
Okay,
plus.
that's cool.
I think maybe, it's a young operation, so maybe they have low overheads. I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's, as far as selection, they all were kind of provided most of the stuff that we were looking for, all, specifically natives. Clark Brothers, I think there was a couple that they didn't have available, but, I think there was at least, I would say at least 6 or so to select from. So I think we'd be fine with the selection. Did anyone have any other comments or questions on the quotes for the trees?
Did they restrict you to a certain time of year?
They said fall, fall or spring. So the general consensus was fall is, the best time to plant. But yeah, I think, in spring they might have more selection just because they'll be getting their orders then. But no, I mean, they said fall, and they can basically plant until the ground's frozen. So, one of them said up until sometime in December, they were available to do the planting.
Is this the kind of thing, Greg, that we'll have like a contract or some type of agreement so that it'll be an ongoing thing? Because obviously we're not having people buy memorial trees all the time. Would we get some type of commitment from them in writing?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, like you said, it depends how much interest we get. I know
Yeah.
we kind of, what's that?
I'd hate to start with one tree company and then the next year they're like, oh, never mind, it's going to be $600 for the same size tree.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
Well-
they can't control that, but maybe we could get some type of commitment from them that they understand that this is an ongoing thing and that, we'll exclusively buy from them, but maybe they don't increase their prices more than, I don't know, maybe Paul would know a number,
I like the idea, but I doubt you're gonna get a price guarantee for more than 1 year out at a time.
Yeah.
And maybe,
Maybe some
Maybe-
type of commitment saying that,
yeah, for a year, say, look, we'll offer this price for the calendar year 2022. And then we reprice it, and then we update our webpage with the new pricing.
Yeah. I mean, we could reach out and see, if they're willing to keep that rate for the year, and that way we don't have to change it up on people.
So
All right.
are we looking to do this at cost? Like are we trying to make money off this? What was the plan?
I mean, the way I was looking at it is just they paid for it. They paid the cost. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys want to have it a little extra and put that towards the parks, or just keep it at cost?
I mean, I personally would say just do it at cost, almost just because if the prices do change, it would be hard to manage it. And I think people would be less discouraged if they actually get to see the actual invoice.
So, but we were gonna do a plaque too, right? Isn't that part 2 of your discussion?
Yeah, so it's
That's
getting
correct,
pricey
yeah.
already. Yeah, so with the tree, you're looking at almost 325, 350.
Yeah. So if we're looking at the 2-inch, it's $325 if they don't offer a smaller size.
And then
Yeah.
the $80 plaque, I don't know that, I don't know. It could be cost prohibitive for some people. If we add
Yeah,
more,
I mean-
add more into it. I mean, I understand, I would love to do it for my dad. I just worry that if you start tacking more money into it, maybe I'm being biased there too, because if I would like to do it for my dad, but.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with keeping it at cost, just to encourage people to actually.
Yeah, we
Do
get a
it.
tree out of it.
Right, exactly. So it helps the park. It helps the all the benefits that the trees provide. So yeah, I'll switch over to show you the plaques. We can go through those.
I like the first one.
With
That's
the
what,
tree on it?
Yeah, you know what? I noticed in some of the other links, other people had the same exact design. So it, it must be made somewhere, and these guys are the retail providers. You know what I mean? They're just the middleman. But the
Right.
first link you sent was the lowest price for that oak tree aluminum plaque. I see the
Let me
earth.
pull it up here. Okay, that's good. All right, here we go. So you're talking about this guy.
Yeah, I like the size. It was a decent size. Was it like 10 by 14 or something?
Yep, 10 and a quarter by 14 and a quarter.
Yeah, so that's a decent size. One of the other ones was 4 inch by 6 inch, and I thought that would just get lost.
Yeah, I personally, this was my favorite one. And I think when I spoke with Jeff, he agreed that that's what his favorite was too.
So I like it because it's metal and it's raised printing, so it'll last. Even as the color fades, you'll still be able to read it, and it won't rust because it's aluminum. But the only thing that I questioned was the stakes. Are the stakes metal or wood? It doesn't say.
Yeah, it just says two 12-inch stakes.
Yeah, but I would hope they're metal, right? That would be ridiculous putting that on wooden stakes.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we could look at the reviews. Great quality. I don't know if anyone. That guy had a problem with the wording. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's got good reviews overall. So that's that one. I'll just go through the three that I sent over.
The next one was slate, right?
Correct, yeah.
Which I felt that would be easily broken or vandalized. Slate is very brittle. And
Right, that's what
especially since the stake is actually slate, so that could snap off pretty easily.
Right.
I was on Greg. I love the look of it, but I agree with you. I'd be afraid that it would crack with the weather or the lawn mowers or.
Yeah, well, I'm worried about kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pick it up
Somebody
and
picking it or something.
I also know that slate isn't forever, and this is either laser engraved or sandblasted, which isn't very deep, so it'll, if it wasn't broken, it would last 15 or 20 years or something. I think the aluminum ones will last 50 or longer.
So that's that one. And then there was just this guy here.
This is the one that was only 4 inch by 6 inch. I just thought that was too small.
Too small.
Isn't it 4 by 6?
Yep, 4 by 6. And it's the same price as the other one. That one's 80 as well.
And the writing isn't in relief, it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't stick out.
Embossed, is that the word?
I guess, but
Okay.
so I felt like it would disappear faster, not wear as well. So this is the website I was looking around to see if they had a bigger one, instead of 4 by 6, maybe 8 by 10 or something. And that's where I found that oak tree again, same exact design, but an extra like $15 or something. Click on the left over there. On the left, it says like tree markers or something. You can't read it.
Tree plaques.
Yeah, try that.
This one's more, these are more like what you hang on the tree.
Yeah, maybe it was memorial. Click one more link. It says memorial.
There's Tree of Life garden markers. Memorial, there's memorial jewelry, memorial ornaments.
Yeah.
Tree.
It doesn't matter. I like your first one. We don't need to spend any more time on it unless anyone has any comments. I don't know if anybody found anything else.
Anyone else have any thoughts or opinions?
I definitely like the first one.
Okay. Cool.
So can we vary the words above? Or is it all?
Yeah,
in
it
memory?
says,
According to that
Six-
guy's complaint,
yeah,
you can change the top.
it says 16 characters per line. Both lines must be specified. And yeah, you can change in memory of. Letters
They
will
might
be-
want to say dedicated to or in loving memory or something different.
Right. I mean, I'm thinking maybe like the person doesn't have to be passed away for you to plant a tree for them.
That's
So,
right.
yeah, dedicated to or whatever.
Yeah.
Greg, is this the type of a thing that instead of us managing it, we just tell them that it has to be ordered from this website and then have it delivered to their home and then give it to Jeff or whomever to put, and then
I mean, that's, I don't know.
feel like it's going to be an issue of like, who's going to be the one that actually has to type it in? And I'd be nervous. I'd actually put a typo in by accident. But if the person's ordering it themselves,
Yeah. I mean, I don't want people to like, not do it because we're making them do the work.
Yeah, I feel like then they'll start surfing around and we'll get all sorts of different plaques, but maybe that's okay.
yeah, I mean, I think if you say it has to be from this website, type it in and bring it to the township office and they'll affix it. And if you,
Oh, well, I think we just get the township secretary to do it, just to give her. She makes all the arrangements, and then we say it's done. Go out in the park and look at your
Okay.
beautiful tree. But they do need to pick a spot, right? Are we gonna limit spots or have a?
Yeah,
We
I
don't
think
wanna-
we should, I would say we kind of give them a few options of where we would prefer a tree. And
So where do we prefer trees? Like what? I don't
So-
want to interfere with any maintenance, like if we put it in the middle of the meadow, that might be good for the animals and birds to have a perch, but does it make it harder for them to mow the meadow?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna add a little mowing wherever we put it, but I still think that we have a decent amount of benches out on those paths that don't have any shade, and if you're out there walking that main paved path in the middle of summer, you're looking for a spot to sit down and get some shade.
Okay. Yeah,
that's
and
what-
around some
Yeah,
of the parking
no,
lots could use some more trees around the parking areas. They need some shade, and then the playground needs some shade around it.
Yeah, there's some areas around the playground.
I think the basketball court could use some too. It's pretty hot in the summer, but
Yeah, that we could, I mean, I know Jack, the pickleball Jack, wanted a windbreak for the pickleball. If we had
Yeah.
a tree there, that would help.
pickleball jack.
So
And
yeah,
then
I mean,
we've got I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
And then we've got a couple trees too that are dead or either on their way out. And I would assume we, at some point, would want to pull those and maybe put one in its place. I don't know.
Yeah, some of those ash trees could replace them. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely plenty of options. We got plenty of park to put some trees in. All right.
So what are we up
so-
to? We're up to like $420.
So yeah, I didn't see how much this is for shipping. But yeah, so 80 plus shipping plus assuming-
Tax. We're
plus-
gonna be just under $500.
Yeah, so 325 plus, yeah.
Not that it's going to make all the difference in the world, but we are tax exempt.
Okay.
Oh, that is good. Yeah, that's good.
So yeah,
That's one
325
benefit of us
plus
ordering it.
100 or so. We might be
That's-
under 450.
That's a benefit of us ordering it, Jennifer, is if we can apply for tax exemption.
yeah, that's a good point because it'll start adding up with the tax.
So, yeah, 450. maybe it's a range. You say, you know, depending on the tree species, 450 to 550 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'm trying to find the actual estimate from Clark Brothers. I don't know. I can't find it, but yeah, I think that range 450 to 550 would probably get us pretty much all the trees we were looking at.
And then Jeff, is it okay if you add it to like the Facebook page of the website? You know, want a picture of this, you know, the price range, and then who would be the point person? Would it be Melissa or?
Yeah, I mean, if the group, whoops. You know, if the group decides on what I'll just call an advertisement for Facebook or the webpage, I'm more than happy to put it up.
Yeah, let's nail down the pricing with Clark Brothers first, though. And you know, I was thinking, Greg, it might be, you know, in the spring they have 1.5 inches, and then in the fall those will be 2 inches. And so the pricing might not be able to control the pricing as much as we want. You see what I mean? The trees are always growing, right? Their stock is changing. So
Yeah,
we
exactly.
could just say it's a range. You know, the range is from 450 to 550 or whatever, and then say, you know, here's our 6 types of trees. Pick one, and we'll confirm the price for you and size. And maybe people want to pay more for a bigger tree, or maybe they're on a budget and want to buy the smallest one possible.
Right. Yeah.
Is it possible? Because I guess we're going to be running, like, if we don't meet again till November, we won't be able to get any trees. Is it possible to vote on this and say, you know, we're all in agreement with that range and that it's going to go on, and that we could just vote to have this approved? I hate to put it back on Greg to finish up, but then that way we don't have to vote on it again.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Do we need to go to the Board of Supervisors?
Yeah, I mean, I assume anything that we do, that's what I was told before.
I would say yes, Paul.
Especially if we're using their staff to complete this.
Yeah.
Right. True.
So Greg, if you want to make a motion and then we can vote on it and just say, you know, for the most part, we agree with that $450 to maybe even $600 range, and then plus also the plaque, and then present those options. And we'll see whatever you do to present it to get it to the board, you know, I guess to Jeff by next Thursday.
Yeah, that's kind of what my goal is, because now it's a great time to plant.
Yeah, if we wait another month and for our next meeting, we won't be getting anything planted this year. So.
Do we need to include our bench options, or let's just go with the trees for now?
Yeah, I was wondering that. I mean, I'm cool to just go with the trees, and then we can work on the benches later on.
All right.
And then Jeff, I hate to make you the guinea pig, but you were interested in doing one for your mother, correct? And then maybe
That is correct.
maybe we could price it out and have, you know, Jeff be our first one and see how it goes, and explain to the board that, you know, we're gonna, even maybe before we even advertise it on the website, that Jeff's gonna test the system.
Yeah, and then we could, I mean, if we get his tree, although that's going to take some time, but we could use, you know, his planting, take some pictures of it, take a picture of the plaque, and use that.
And make sure the plaque shows up and it's as nice as we expect it to be, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
Is that okay with you, Jeff, if we use you as the guinea pig?
Yep, that's fine. And perhaps, Greg, you'll volunteer yourself, and sometime you and I can go out to the park, and I promise to behave myself. I just want to get you and I to agree on a spot.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you were kind of leaning towards an oak, is that correct? Or
yeah, I would like to. My first choice would be a scarlet oak.
Okay.
Because that was my parents' favorite. So
nice.
I just want to see if we can keep with that.
Okay. So I'm just reading, so we asked them about, I think, 8 different trees, and they said they had red oak. It looks like they do have scarlet oak, white oak. They don't have black oak, and he said no one has black oak locally. Red maple, sugar maple, and tulip poplar. For some reason, a lot of these nurseries aren't selling sycamores, and they're selling the European version, which is the London plane tree. So I'd prefer to stay away from non-natives if possible, especially since we have a lot of other options. But I have tons of sycamores growing on my property, so I don't really understand why they're not
So
selling.
the guy at Clark Brothers said that they have a disease, or they can get a disease, and I'm like you, I have a lot of sycamores on my property, and they're okay, but there might be a disease out there. I just don't know about it.
Okay.
Because I did the same thing. I ordered sycamore for the ball fields, and he didn't have any.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So any other comments before I make the motion? All right, so I'll motion to recommend to the board that we go with Clark Brothers, pending the size and cost, but within a range of $450 to $550 for the memorial tree project. That would be including the plaque from Wind and Weather, which is advertised at $80.
Yeah, say aluminum plaque.
Aluminum plaque.
Yeah.
Second it.
Second by Jennifer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, cool.
So we might, I think Jennifer mentioned 600. It might be better to post 450 to 600, but after you get the pricing updated, we'll let you figure that out, Greg. We're just trying to make it, if they want a bigger tree or, different type or whatever.
Right, okay.
And I don't think it changes the motion or the way we're going to proceed.
No.
If it's possible also to just get some type of like 1-year letter, I just think.
I'm gonna look into the size.
Yeah,
and
I
I'll
think
look
the
into
board of
the
supervisors
pricing.
will ask about, well, what if the price changes, or do we have something?
Yeah, tell them what you're doing and say, how come we want to be able to post some prices? How long can you hold this price?
Yeah, how long is it good for?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
And I would definitely agree we need the deer protection.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So just jot that down. All right, so I'll move on. All right, healing garden. So as far as updates, Jim, did you want to, since you were part of the work there, you want to give an update on what you guys did? The FSA?
Sure, it's 99.5% ready for planting in the spring. Pathways have been moved around. Rotted boards have been replaced. There's still 3 short pieces that I just have to get over there, but my foot hasn't been cooperating lately, that we have to put in one of the inner small circles of the pathway. But other than that, it's ready to go. It's been completely weeded. And said springtime, they just have to do some minor prep. I know in the old pathways where we took the boards out, there's still that gravel, stone, whatever that true substances that'll have to be moved out of there if we're planning to plant in there and filled with dirt or other plantable materials. But other than that, it's ready to go.
Great. Yeah, I appreciate all the work you guys did. So yeah, just to piggyback on that, we kind of had a hitch in the plan. Originally, we were going to do half of the garden, since it's a mirror image, half the garden this fall, the other half in spring. But the plant nursery would not split up the order. So it kind of left with the option of scrambling to try to get it all done, or just pushing it and doing it all in spring where we can kind of get organized. And that's the way it kind of went, is, instead of trying to rush and get volunteers and get it all done real quick, we went with the spring. What was I going to say here? So we're, as far as schedule, we're looking at the week of April 18th for the actual planting. And we're just a reminder, we're going to go with red tail restoration for the install. They're going to do as much as they can in the amount of hours that was approved, which was 40 hours, I believe. And then from there, we'll add on with volunteer work to do the rest. Yeah, the gardens look great right now. Like Jim said, there's just, I think, a couple more pieces of wood that needs to be fixed, but all the weeding was done. We'll probably have to do a little more weeding prior to the actual install. But otherwise, we're kind of lined up for the spring planting. And assuming that we get that community day still going, this will be installed prior to that, which will be good. So the signage, I don't know, Jennifer, do you want to I know you kind of took the lead on that one. Do you want to go over with what you found on the signs?
I mean, I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared, but
Sorry,
but that's
all right.
okay. I
I
think
didn't mean to put you on the spot.
that's okay. Greg and I kind of we met with Jeff and we went and saw the samples that the Yo Sign guy had recommended. It's a composite material made out of like 2 different colors of plastic, and then he engraves on it. He recommended that over the metal sign, but the problem with that is you're really limited on how much you can write on it. And I think that Greg and Jeff had discussed that if you want to do pictures or more interesting stuff about the signs and the meadow, and we want it to all look like that, it might need to go with something that Jeff had mentioned that was similar to what is in front of the Franklin Township office. So I definitely like the Yo Sign guy signs, but maybe that's something more for like signage for like the trails and stuff, because it's more of like a plastic material, but you can't really put any printed pictures or anything on it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, I thought it'd be fine to go with that for the meadow, since it was going to be more simple, the message on there. But I know you mentioned kind of keeping the same style. So I'm fine with doing that. Just kind of doing the gardens and the meadow in the same style.
Yeah, so that was it. Yeah, I thought that it would just look more consistent if the gardens and the meadow matched, but you can't put, like, if you wanted to write like what a species of plant was and put a picture on it, you can't do that on the signs that the Yo Sign guy offers. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I saw it. I actually took some pictures of signs the other day. I'll send them over to you guys. Mount Cuba has some nice ones that they installed in some of their meadow area.
Jeff, I know we had mentioned it when we met, but is it possible to get some possible pricing on, I think it was like the 11 by 14 sign? Does that sound right for the size for the meadow?
11 by 14?
I
Yeah.
mean, that would be the smallest. I
decent
think that's
size.
what the sign guy recommended, but
Are you talking about a metal sign?
you had mentioned the metal sign that's in front of Franklin Township that you had a contact. I can reach out to her, but you said that maybe if Greg got you a PDF of what he was thinking of, you could get some pricing from her.
Oh, absolutely. PDF, JPEG. I can send that to her. Give me your first choice. And if that's 11 by 17, that's fine. And then I can also ask her what their standard sign blanks are. So they have lots to choose from, but if we choose one a little bigger, maybe it might be cheaper.
Well,
So,
Jeff, I think we want whatever her standard is. 11 by
Right.
70 is just an idea.
correct.
Yeah, and the 11 by 17, that was what I guess the standard was for Yo Sign Guy, for his plastic signs.
Yep.
I do really
Yeah,
like signs, and I would really like to maybe use them someday, possibly on the trails. I think that they'll hold up well, or kind of actually blend better maybe with the trails, maybe.
Okay. So if we're gonna put together this is basically something, if we were doing it that way, Jeff, we would have to do the design ourselves with the wording and the photographs and all that.
that's correct.
Okay.
Now, you may have something that you have that you like 98%, something close.
Mm-hmm.
And then she can change that, but she would like to have something ready for her to be able to
Gotcha.
put through the machine.
Okay. I wish I had all the software I used to have. I could put something together. All right. So that's that. So that's something I'll try to work on a way to get a sign designed.
You could probably do it in PowerPoint.
Okay. Yeah, I've never done that on PowerPoint.
I'm just because I used to have a bunch of different software, and when I don't have it, PowerPoint kind of worked out.
Yeah, and let me know. I have teenage kids who have access to like the graphic stuff at school. Some of the schools have some extra stuff, so let us know if you need any help.
Okay.
You probably need to be, so Jeff said a PDF or JPEG, but if she wants to be able to change it, it would need to be a JPEG. At work, when we send stuff to our designer, it's a TIFF file. So I don't know, Jeff, does it matter?
If it can be a TIFF too, that's fine. And in the end, if it's not too much trouble, it will help her.
Yeah, so the TIFF is usually higher resolution. So I don't know.
Right. Doesn't lose quality either. Okay. So that's that. So I'll move on to signatures landscape. Signature landscapes estimate. I can pull that up here. All right, so. All right, so Jennifer and I met with Signature Landscape again, because they changed their prices on us, and then we kind of changed the scope of work. So we wanted to kind of go over what we actually needed again this time, and get a updated estimate from them. So actually, let me go back here. So what we actually are going to have them do is what Jim mentioned, the stone that's all laid in there from the paths that were removed. We're going to have them clean that out, reuse it as much as possible in building the new entranceway. We're also going to, kind of freshen up the stone and have them, reuse it on top of some of the other stuff. So here's what they said here. Attached is the estimate, includes cleaning out all the rock from the strips, as well as creating the new entranceway. The best price and covering costs. They're going to do landscape fabric on the pathway there. And their estimate came in at, this also includes the soil to replace where the stone is. And that came in at 1,000. So
The only thing I would add is, I know the FSA was out there, and and they had mentioned the stone. I guess I didn't realize, maybe Jim can, like, how deep the stone was in those trails. So like he did dig down, so it's like a couple hours of work for them to dig out that stone.
Yeah,
Right,
it's probably 6-8 inches deep easily.
Yeah, and you had mentioned equipment. He is going to do it by hand, which I think is better. But I definitely think it's going to be time consuming, not something that we would want to put any volunteers through.
Very labor intense.
Right.
And then they're going to finish fixing the part. You guys were awesome and took down the bushes, and they're going to actually get the rest of the stumps out and then smooth that out with the soil. And I think they're going to use, if I'm correct, right, they're going to use the old red rocks there and then put new red rock over to make it look better, but like fill in that part with the dirt and the.
Right,
And the-
kind of lay a layer and then freshen it up on top.
But with the critical part of getting that stump out.
Right, yeah, I think multiple stumps in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what their new estimate looks like. It's still cheaper than what they were gonna do before.
What was your original, the board approved, the Board of Supervisors approved the original total for?
The total, I believe it was 4,500 total.
I'm for signature, how much did
Oh,
they?
signature. It was 1020, 1020, there was two estimates, 1020 and then 5 and some change. So
So it was
15
close.
something, right around there.
Well, like a little over $500 less than what,
Yeah, 1550 was the actual total. So yeah, a little under, 550 cheaper.
and then the scope of work has changed, so they're not doing the mulch, but Red Tail's doing the mulch. So do you now still have enough money to add that to Red Tail's total to do the mulch?
Yeah, that's gonna be a little extra on top. Yeah, exactly, because Red Tail said they'd prefer to do it as they do the planting. So we would just kind of get the mulch together or have them get the mulch, and yeah, so that'll transfer over to Red Tail's estimate.
And Signature seems supportive of that. They said, yes, it makes sense to make sure that you're mulching as you're planting. So.
Right, yeah, and I agree. So that's the updated estimate. Any input questions on this?
The only thing I would add is that Signature says they could do this right away. So if everybody's okay with it still getting done now, even though the planting isn't going to get done to April, I think it would still just be better to get it done now so that it's truly, like Jim had said, it's at 95. This would get it to 100% ready.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense to prep it now.
Yeah.
The
Get all
winter's not
the
going. Yeah, the winter's not going to impact it. So.
right. Exactly. And then we'll be ready to roll as soon as the weather breaks in spring. All right. So no other questions or comments there. I'll move on.
Maybe if I can just ask Paul, like, we don't have to get this reapproved or Jeff, we don't have to get this reapproved, right? We have the funding. We could just go ahead and proceed with Signature.
As long as you're within your budget.
Is that okay? All right. So Greg, if you just reach out to me by Friday and maybe we could pick a time for Signature to start, if that's okay with you, if everybody's on board with them doing this part.
Yeah, I would agree with Paul, as long as we stay in the budget. If we go over, then we have to be kicked back to the board.
Okay. So it's definitely under the budget, and I will make sure that that's, a precursor that they stay under that, stay at that 1,000. Like, we can't, it's not an estimate. It's like, it has to be that price.
Yeah, let's get them out there before the estimate changes again.
Yeah. Okay. Should we vote on it one more time just to say we can proceed with Signature for this part? Is that okay?
Sure. Yep.
All right. Is everybody in favor of us reaching out to Signature to finish this part within the scope of their proposal?
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep, I'm on board. All right, so we'll get that going. All right, next up was movie night. Just wanted to review movie night. I don't know. I only saw some people there. I don't know if everyone was actually attended it, but turned out to be a great night. We got it. I don't know what the head count was, but we got a decent turnout.
Yeah, the average seems to be between 250 and 300. So I was calling it 275.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, every car that went by had it at a minimum 3 people in it, and some
Yeah.
of them, 5 or 6 people tucked in.
I think weather-wise, it was a little cold, and I think some people weren't able to last the whole movie, but nothing we could do about that. I don't know if you guys, anyone who was there saw there was a shooting star like right above the movie screen. That was pretty cool. Kind of a magical little moment to see that shooting over the park as we're watching a movie.
I saw that. That was cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it went great. I mean, there were some people that left a bunch of trash as soon as they got up and left, which was kind of disappointing, but I guess not much you can do about that.
I didn't see that. I didn't see the trash.
Yeah, they were a group that was sitting. Well, we immediately, as soon as we saw them drive away, we went and picked it up. Yeah.
That's good. Thanks. I didn't see that.
Yeah, but otherwise I thought it went great. Does anyone else have any input or?
My kids loved it. They're still talking about it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was freezing though.
It was really cold.
But it was a lot of fun. Everybody really liked it.
Nice.
Yeah, I want to thank Jeff. He did a great job planning that. I mean, all by himself and he thought of everything. So that was really nice, Jeff, and the company worked out well. And thanks for getting the PICO grant.
Thank you everyone for
Yeah,
believing in me and the movie.
Yeah, I saw them dancing the jig when the cars started pulling that down the road. He was sweating it for a little bit, but when they started pulling in, it's like, oh, here they come.
So I think our improvements for next year would be to give the traffic people a vest, for a high visibility vest for safety.
Agreed.
I think we still have some, right, Jeff? Don't we have a couple vests left?
We probably do, tucked up in the attic somewhere.
Okay. We used to use them for that cleanup day.
Yep, that's what I was
And then,
thinking of.
And then the other one was, I noticed some people struggling in the porta potty trying to use their cell phones as a light. And, that could be really dangerous. So
Yeah, that was the only thing, the light at the far upper corner, I'd turned that to the woods just for more so a safety light. And I saw it got powered down.
That was good, Jim,
we really need to keep at least one light on just for safety, because I know I was down in the parking lot and
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it being off because I think it would be bright against the screen. But my suggestion was, we go get a $5 light at Tractor Supply and stick it on the top of the outhouse just so they have a lantern in there while they're using the outhouse.
That's a great idea.
Because they're literally $5 for an LED lantern that you hang from the ceiling. But we were just really fortunate to have the lights from the soccer team. And so if that's not there next year, I would say we need to rent 2 of those light plants for next year, if they're not there. They really helped.
Yeah, I think, I don't know hopefully we can do this again. And if so, I would say maybe a little earlier in the season, just for the warmer weather.
Oh, absolutely. And this grant kind of came around by accident. I was asking a question about something else. So I've been able to prove to Pico this has been a success. So he told me if I could do that he would do his utmost to give me more money next year.
Nice.
I think it was well done, and be careful getting it too early in the season because it's light later, and you don't want the movie to start at 9 p.m. right? Because it's for kids, so we have to be careful of that. And then the mosquito.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The mosquitoes might be worse than the cold if you do it in the real warm weather.
If he gives me if he gives me the option to apply earlier next year, then that can give us a window to really schedule it anytime during the year.
It was kind of fun being in the fall, though. I have to
Mhm.
admit, I liked being like bundled up, and I don't know, it just felt cozy.
Well, I agree, and I think we need to, warn people, bring warm clothes, blankets, hats, mittens,
Yeah.
whatever. But, I also thought if they did great giving out the popcorn and ice cream, and maybe we could actually sell snacks and drinks or something to make more revenue, but it wouldn't be much money, maybe a couple $100. But then I thought one nicety might be to have a bonfire up on top of the hill so people could go warm up if they wanted to.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a good idea.
But I was saying up on top of the hill so that it's not in the field, so we don't damage the field, and so that it's away from the screen so the light doesn't bother the projection.
Right.
I don't know. I'm sure the
Just-
insurance company will have something to say about that.
And just the FYI, we may want to look further if we want to do this more often. Understand the Christian Life Center has a outdoor screen in movies we could potentially utilize. They lend them out, so we see that as an option.
That
Understand.
screen's definitely not as big as the one we had, though.
I didn't think it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that screen was impressive. I
Yes.
didn't picture it being that big.
We could do a drive-in.
He said they do drive-ins, Jim. He said that,
That
but
screen, I'm not
Yeah.
surprised.
I just don't think we have the place for it. But I liked having the people outside.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Anyway, that was all my thoughts on it, Jeff. Nice work.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, great job. Great idea too.
Hey,
All right.
what was the final budget? Just so we know how much that cost.
We received a grant for $2,000, and we spent every bit of that, and we may be a little over, and the board understands that. I made sure ahead of time, so they were like, "Go for it." So I did.
Good.
Cool. All right. All right, next up, I put Auburn Road. Paul, did you have any changes or updates on the Auburn Road property?
Yeah. Who's the admin at the township? Melissa?
Melissa?
Yes. So I sent her an update to include for the supervisor. So you guys know, the only update I have is that they did the environmental study, phase 1 environmental study, and found nothing of note. So the property's clean. The only thing that they noticed was a de minimis violation, which was some cans stored in a shed. There's some sort of paint or chemicals stored in a shed. And so the owner got rid of them, disposed of them. And then they had concerns about a fuel tank, which he also got rid of. Although if the fuel tank was in use or to be used, it's no problem. But if it wasn't, they wanted it gone. And then they also had the appraisal has to be reviewed by a second person to make sure it's legitimate and meets all these particulars. I don't really know what I'm talking about there, but it has to be reviewed. And the appraisal passed its inspection, that it can be used for this grant funding. So that's
Okay.
all I know.
So it sounds like all
So,
good. Good news.
Yeah, I think the overall message is it's progressing in the right direction.
Nice. Okay. All right, moving on. Any progress on any of the mapping? Mary or Paul, anyone have any?
I haven't heard anything. Have you heard, Paul, from Michael Little?
No. He sent me some stuff a while back, and I just haven't done anything on it. And so it's probably something my fault. But I think we need like the a sign company to make the signs, and then we'll have a map, laid out from that guy to put on the boards. And I offered an Eagle Scout a project to make signboards for us to put these maps on at the trailheads. But no, I didn't do anything on maps.
Okay.
I think I have too many township projects going on.
There's a lot going on. It's hard to keep track of everything. All right. Just another update. The Eagle Scout, Ryan, who's the one who was going to plant the trees and build the bird boxes, I put a message out to him about 9 days ago, and I have not gotten any response. So hopefully we'll get a hold of him. I don't know if anyone has any contact. I think his sibling was the one, and his dad, I think, are involved with the scouts too.
He's Troop 191, right?
That I don't know. But he's
So,
yeah, I think he was the one that his brother did the boardwalks down by the water there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps, but yeah, I mean, it's hopefully, I'd like to get moving on that project. It's a great time to plant trees, so hopefully he is still interested. But I don't know really how else to get a hold of him. So anyway, we'll wait and see from Ryan. Next up, unfortunately, the belly dance class that Jenny Wood was offering, she decided to discontinue that. She said she didn't get much turnout. I guess I don't know how the first class went, but the second class, she said she didn't get any turnout. So she decided to stop offering that.
How about the yoga? Is the yoga still going?
Yoga is still going, and
Getting cold.
Yeah, she moved it up an hour the last I checked. But yeah, I haven't been there in a while. But as far as I know, they're still going strong. Jeff, do you know any details of how yoga is going?
Yes, she's going to do her best to go through October out at the park. And then November, she's planning on offering a Zoom class for yoga.
Okay, so through the end of October, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I just haven't found the time to get out there, but and then the other thing was the mountain bike race that we discussed at the last meeting 2 months ago. We were informed that they decided not to proceed with that, so that's going to be canceled, or is canceled.
Did they give a reason?
I believe they gave kind of a vague reason. Jeff, do you remember what they said? I can try to pull up his email.
I think we ought to, for right now, call it a vague reason.
Yeah.
And Matt, I think his name's Matt Thompson, right, Paul?
Yeah.
He was a little disappointed at the outcome. So he's thinking that if he has time, he would like to sponsor something like that next year.
Jeff, I'm sorry if I missed this, but did they present to the board and then decide to not do it?
They did not present to the board.
Okay.
Yeah, they messaged us in August and just said that they've basically decided that they're not going to move forward with the event. So yeah, kind of bug. So yeah, that's canceled.
Might be a COVID thing.
Yeah, who knows? I didn't really get any detail on it. All right, so that's it for old business, new business. Paul, did you want to discuss the homeowner that reached out about conserving, the possibility of conserving land? I don't know if you wanted to, if there was any update or.
Yeah, I could say Greg put me in touch with a landowner that would express some interest in land preservation for a little over 80 acres. I'm trying to be generic, so to not give away, but there's a property we've had discussions before with a previous owner, and this new owner just wanted to know what it was about what easements were about and land preservation. So I gave him a little briefing and tried to get his interest and explain how it worked. And so, he said he wanted to talk it over with his wife, but I don't know if it was right for him or not at this time. But I think it's one of those properties that's a long-term project where, we just put a bug in his ear and every 6 months or so, give him a ring and ask how he's doing and what he thinks about it. And, people's situations change, financial situations and family situations. So maybe he'll go that way.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the reason we're here is to help, give these people the possibilities and the options. So.
Yeah, and I told him that the township didn't have any money for open space, that we would guide him toward county and state grants, but that we couldn't contribute.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's all the topics I had. Paul, I know you had some other stuff that you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, I had one. One was the in Bamshire, I've been doing trail maintenance all summer and some help with some volunteers. It's been great. And even some of you went out there and did some cutting for me. And the one trail that's always been neglected is the yellow trail. Like I cut it in the spring because it's a very popular fishing trail because it follows the banks along the White Clay Creek east bank. You access it off of Creek Road. It's the only trail you access off of Creek Road instead of from the main parking lot. And then I haven't been cutting it this summer. It's difficult to get my mower down in there. So it's my least favorite to mow. And there's some narrow trees and some rough spots that my mower always gets stuck and stuff like that. Anyway, I walked it last weekend. It really needs help. So I'd just like to mow it one time. And since we're so late in the season, it'll stay in good shape through till next April, so that'd be great to have it walkable for those 5 or 6 months or whatever that is. And then there was also 2 trees down on the trail where I need some chainsaw help to cut them up. So mowing and chainsaw, and then Jeff had some millings from the road paving they were doing this week. And so I asked the township to dump a load of millings at the trailhead. At the trailhead, there's always been a water runoff problem where the water runs down Creek Road into the trail. So that's not good, right? So this way we can build up a little bit of a berm and just keep the water from running down the trail to run past the trail and continue down Creek Road a little bit. And then there's plenty of stone. So there's some soft spots in the trail. And I thought if we could get some volunteers with some wheelbarrows to move some stone down into the soft spots, we could fix up that trail. So I just want to throw it out there. If anybody has some time, either tomorrow evening or Friday evening or Saturday or Sunday or something, just try to, if we can get a few people, a half a dozen people available at one time, it'd be great to go do that stuff.
I
Yeah.
feel bad that we keep avoiding it. We just haven't had the last couple of weekends. I was just looking at my husband and he said maybe the 3rd weekend in October we might be available. But if it can't wait till then, maybe you could keep a list of stuff we could do that weekend.
Yeah, he's the chainsaw guy. We need him.
Yeah, I just, unfortunately, we have a kid stuff this weekend and a family wedding the following weekend, but
What time are you thinking at night?
Well, it'd have to be pretty early because it gets dark by like 7 or
Right.
6:45, right?
Yeah.
Even, yeah, I guess 6:45, it's done. So it would be like from 5 to 6:30 would be it. If you get an hour and a half and you get something done.
Okay.
Never mind, Paul. My husband wants to use a chainsaw bad. He said Friday night work.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think 2 people could cut up those trees in an hour and a half. Like they're not that big. You know what I mean? You're not hauling it anywhere, just cutting it up and throwing it off the trail.
And you're not opposed if I send teenagers with them, like we have kids who need community service hours, are you?
No, that'd be great. Teenagers are good wheelbarrow pushers.
Okay, I mean, it does seem like short enough that we could probably do it. You know, if you text me and let me know what works, and maybe if Mary's around Friday around 5, we could probably make it.
Yeah, I also talked to my husband, but we're probably around.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to just do a short evening rather than try to take up your whole Saturday because of what you said with, kids' sports and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I was thinking of the evening thing. Because that's, I don't often, I go and mow a trail or trim a trail and then I come and tell you guys about it at the next meeting. But it's just because usually it's a spontaneous thing, I'm like, oh, I got a free hour after work. I'm gonna go do that. I don't really plan for it or make a big deal about it. So that's why I thought I could offer it up since the meeting was tonight. We could do something this week. So
Yeah,
we
and
could plan.
Oh, I'm sorry. And if you say like on Friday, like you could start on Friday and then tell us like, oh, well, we didn't finish this. Then like maybe the next time we get a chance, we could, clean the rest of it up.
Yeah, let's see how far we get. Like, if let's agree Friday at 5 o'clock to meet on Creek Road at Chesterville Road. That's where the trailhead is. There's a little parking area there. Do you guys know where that is? It's it is Bamshire, but it's not the parking lot.
Just across the bridge.
And my husband's asking just across the bridge
Yeah.
Okay.
Turn left.
and turn left. I have no sense of direction, Paul. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you turn north, but I guess it depends which way you're coming from, if it's right or left. But yeah, if you cross the bridge, it's left. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what's the intersection?
Creek Road and Chesterville Road.
Okay.
But if you know where Bamshire is, it is the eastern border of Bamshire, the eastern edge of Bamshire. It's not in the parking lot. So, it depends if I can get some of my neighbors that usually help. The one guy has a mower and then I could be on the wheelbarrow and I could, do that stuff. But if he doesn't come with his mower, I'll get on my mower and I can't be on the wheelbarrow. So
you want us to bring an extra wheelbarrow if possible, though?
yeah, everybody should bring a wheelbarrow and a sturdy one. If it's not a sturdy one, don't bother. Like if it's the plastic kind that are meant for leaves, I don't want to break your equipment, right? I'm not asking you to break it. So a sturdy metal one would be best. I only have one. I'll bring mine, but I only have one. And then chainsaws.
Oh yeah, and I'll send my husband with the volunteer form. Should know I get uptight about the volunteer forms.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, you're right. Can you bring like a bunch of blanks?
Yeah, I have them here
Yeah.
from when I picked them up from Jeff. I will put them in the
That's
truck.
great.
tonight.
Good thinking. Good thinking.
Well, it's only more just for my daughter's sake, because if she's doing volunteer hours, I don't want to pick her.
Yeah, and if she's not up for wheelbarrow, she can shovel the stone once it's dumped. You have to rake it around. So shovels and metal rakes, not leaf rakes, but metal rakes,
Okay.
iron rake. I don't know what you call it.
Like a
And
stone
then-
rake? Like a stone rake?
Yeah. And then otherwise she can help clear the tree. Like once your husband cuts it up, someone needs to carry or throw it off the trail. Yeah, that'd be great. Anybody else? Mary, are you available? You said-
I can probably send my husband, but someone has to stay with the kids. I'm assuming it wouldn't be okay for them to come. They're little.
Yeah. And I was trying to think how old they were, but yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
Although
they're 4 and
it is
8. So
it is a nature preserve. They could go play in the stream and get wet and cold. I'm fine with that, as long as you're fine with that.
I hate to bring it up, but I know Mary had the illness. We just had the illness in our house last week. Not that kids get sick from being in the cold, but
Yeah.
I know it's the cold is going around, and apparently you are not allowed to go to the doctor when you have a cold. So
My son got wet up to his waist tonight. I'm like, what are you doing? So I see Julie's on the phone. Julie wants to volunteer.
Hi, sorry, I'm coming in late. The link was not good. So I'm kind of I missed part of this of what
Well,
you're
Julie, we were talking about getting people to do a work day Friday evening for an hour and a half till it gets dark, from 5 to whatever, down on the end of Creek Road at Bamshire Yellow Trail. Just
Okay.
wheelbarrows and chainsaws and moving some stone and cutting some trees and mowing. So
is there an opportunity? Oops, sorry, go ahead.
I think your husband has a chainsaw from what I remember.
He does have a chainsaw. Is there an opportunity to do it tomorrow night? Or is it only Friday night?
Well, we were just trying to see when everyone's available.
Yeah.
Sounds like Jennifer's Friday night.
I'm
Jennifer's
not
Friday
opposed.
night.
I'm not opposed to if you want to start it tomorrow, and then Eric can. Our problem is we just have something at one of the kids' schools tomorrow that if you
No,
send
that's
me-
true.
you could start it and then just let us know what we need to finish up.
Yeah, there are 2 trees, Julie. You could do one tree and leave the other one. Yeah.
We can do
we're
Friday.
Okay. Julie's one of my neighbors, so
I can
say hi to her.
wheelbarrow.
Yeah, we need some wheelbarrows. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just keep
All
us
right.
updated by text, Paul, and let us know, if anything changes or what's left on Friday.
Oh, it's going to be mostly Friday. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Greg. I don't remember what the other topic was.
So you said lower trails at Crossing?
Oh, just to give you guys an update, since the storms, we've had 2 floods in the last, month or 2. All the boardwalks in the lower area of Crossing are washed up again. They're all washed down to the end. And so my proposal would be to put some stone down. I went down there with my son and we were looking at the boardwalks all washed up. And he pointed out that the stone that's next to the bridge at Crossing, I'm talking about the lower bridge that crosses White Clay Creek, the stone is in perfectly good shape. Like it doesn't wash away. So he's like, why don't you use stone on the trail? So it's a pretty good idea. So I don't know how we do this, Jeff, to get approval to spend some money to just go have Jimmy put some stone down as like a test. We maybe put stone down for 100 feet and see if it lasts through the winter. And if it's good, we'll do more next year. That was my thought. Because I don't know if any of you have ever gone down there, but it's embarrassing. It's a mess down there. It's not a nice part of the park.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely either needs something real sturdy or just to be rerouted completely from there.
Well, yeah, I want to do both, right? I want to reroute it, not keep the original trail, just reroute it. But we do need some work down there in the lower area to get the trail back up. We could definitely do an engineered boardwalk, but that's a lot of money. So I was trying to think cheap.
I was thinking, Paul, it would be nice if we could have an area defined or outlined with flags, something for Mr. Durazio to look at, give us a price on, and then some direction as whether the stone's 5 inches deep or a foot deep or whatever.
Right.
It is.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's clear for Jim.
All right. I'll do that. All right. That was it, Greg.
Okay. Anyone else? Any additional topics before I get to public comment? All right. So it looks like we have Julie and possibly another member of the public. So is there any public comment?
Nope. This is Julie.
All right. Well, that's it then. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Craig.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Take
See ya.
care.